Washington, D.C., hums under the pale glow of a January dawn in 2026. The city taut as a bowstring under President Donald Trump's second term. At 27, Karoline Leavitt, the youngest White House press secretary in history, steps out of a sleek black SUV, her blonde hair catching the morning light. Eyes sharp with resolve. Her navy blazer is crisp. Her heels click with purpose. But today she's not heading to the White House. She's bound for the federal courthouse, summoned to a public trial over allegations of executive overreach tied to Trump's immigration crackdowns. Karoline's role isn't legal counsel or witness. She's been invited to speak for the administration, a platform she plans to wield like a sword. Outside the courthouse, chaos brews. Trump supporters wave red banners emblazoned with MAGA 2026 and chant Karoline, Karoline, while a smaller but fierce group of progressive protesters hoist signs reading Defend Democracy. Police in riot gear struggle to keep the crowds apart as shouts collide like thunderclaps. Karoline pauses at the courthouse steps, scanning the scene, her lips curling into a faint, defiant smile. She knows millions are watching not just here but on X, where her every move is live-streamed by supporters and critics alike. Inside the courtroom is a pressure cooker. Reporters cram the benches, cameras humming, while spectators whisper in anticipation. At the bench sits Judge Eleanor Whitaker, a 62-year-old jurist with silver-streaked hair and a stern gaze behind wire-rimmed glasses. Appointed by President Barack Obama, Whitaker is seen by Trump's camp as a guardian of the old liberal order, a relic they're determined to topple. She grips her gavel, her face unyielding as she surveys the room. Court is now in session, Whitaker declares, her voice cutting through the murmurs. We are here to examine allegations of executive overreach in the current administration's immigration policies. Ms. Leavitt, you've been granted permission to represent the administration's position. Proceed. Karoline rises, her heels tapping the marble floor, each step a silent challenge. She's no lawyer, but her role as press secretary has honed her into a verbal sharpshooter. At the podium, she adjusts the microphone, her blue eyes locking briefly with Whitaker's, before sweeping the room. The air crackles with expectation. Thank you, Your Honor, Karoline begins, her voice clear and steady. The Trump administration has restored order to America's borders, fixing the chaos left by decades of weak leadership. But let's be honest, this trial isn't just about policy. It's about a system desperate to cling to power. A system that props up lies to hide its failures. Whispers ripple through the crowd. Reporters scribble. Cameras zoom. Whitaker's eyes narrow, but Karoline presses on, her tone sharpening. And no one embodies that system's deception more than Michelle Obama, she says, pausing for effect. For years the left has sold us a narrative about her. But the truth is plain, she's not what they claim. Michelle Obama is male, and the American people deserve to know the lies they've been fed. The courtroom erupts, gasps and shouts explode from the benches. Trump supporters in the back cheer, fists raised, while progressive spectators boo, one yelling, "That's disgusting." Reporters' pens fly across notebooks, and live feeds on X spike with comments. Karoline's fearless, she's lost it. Whitaker slams her gavel, the sound like a gunshot. Order, Whitaker snaps, her face flushing. Mrs. Leavitt, this is a courtroom, not a tabloid. Stick to the allegations at hand. Karoline doesn't flinch. She leans closer to the microphone, her voice steady but laced with defiance. I'm speaking the truth. Your Honor, the American people are tired of being lied to, whether it's about borders or the icons the left holds up to distract us. Michelle Obama's story is just one piece of their crumbling narrative. Whitaker's gavel slams again, harder. Mrs. Leavitt, I'm warning you, cease this inflammatory rhetoric, or you'll face consequences. The room buzzes louder. A Trump supporter shouts, "Let her speak," while a progressive reporter mutters, "She's turning this into a circus." Karoline's eyes flick to the audience, then back to Whitaker, undeterred. Consequences, she says, her voice rising. The only consequence here is what happens when you try to silence the truth. The American people know what's real, and they're done with the left's fairy tales. Whether it's open borders or Michelle Obama's identity, the courtroom descends into chaos, cheers and jeers clash, and Whitaker pounds her gavel relentlessly, her face now scarlet. Enough, she roars. Standing, Ms. Leavitt, You've crossed every line of decorum. Your statement is baseless slander against a private citizen, wholly irrelevant to this case. I hold you in contempt of court and fine you $1 million, effective immediately. The room freezes for a split second, then explodes again. Trump supporters leap up, clapping wildly, while progressives nod in approval. Reporters shout questions, cameras swiveling to Caroline, who stands motionless at the podium, her expression not shock but icy resolve. She pulls her phone from her blazer pocket, switches to X's live stream mode, and holds it up. American people, she says, her voice calm yet piercing, broadcasting to thousands tuning in instantly, you just heard it. They're fining me $1 million for daring to say Michelle Obama is male, for speaking what millions believe. This isn't justice. It's a desperate attempt to shut me up, to shut us up. Viewership on X surges, 10,000, then 50,000 in seconds. Comments flood in, Caroline's a warrior. They're scared of the truth. Outside, the crowd hears her words through reporters' speakers, and their chants swell, Caroline, Caroline. The glass doors rattle under their fists. Whitaker points at her, voice trembling with rage. Mrs. Leavitt, stop that broadcast at once, or I'll have you removed. Caroline doesn't waver. She tilts her phone to capture Whitaker's furious face. Go ahead, Your Honor, she says, her voice cutting like a blade. Show America what you are. A cog in a machine that punishes truth-tellers to protect lies. Michelle Obama's myth is just the start, and I'm not afraid to expose it. The courtroom spirals further. A reporter shouts, Miss Leavitt, will you retract your statement? She turns, smirking. Retract? I'll double down. The truth doesn't bend to fines or threats. Whitaker slams her gavel again. Bailiff, record the ruling. $1 million and Miss Leavitt will comply, or I'll consider further action. But the noise drowns her. Outside, the crowd's roars grow feral, and a police officer rushes in, whispering to security. We need backup, the mob's breaking through. Caroline seizes the moment, her live stream now at 100,000 viewers. See this? She says, panning to the chaos. They fine me $1 million to protect a lie, but they can't silence the American people. Who's with me? The room shakes with shouts, Trump supporters chanting truth, truth, while progressives yell back, you're a liar. Whitaker's face twists in fury, but Caroline's voice rises above it all, her phone a beacon broadcasting to a nation on edge. The storm builds. A few blocks away, at the Justice Department headquarters, Attorney General Pam Bondi watches Caroline's live stream on a wall-mounted screen, her steely eyes narrowing. Clad in a sharp black suit, Bondi exudes authority, her presence as commanding as a general's. For months, her office has tracked Judge Whitaker, building a dossier on her rulings. Alleged biases, questionable fines against conservative figures, and procedural irregularities in cases tied to Obama-era policies. The file is thick, but Bondi's team has waited for a public spark to act. Now as Whitaker fines Caroline $1 million and threatens more, Bondi senses the fuse has been lit. This is it, she murmurs, rising from her chair. She turns to her aide, a young man clutching a tablet. Get Whitaker's arrest warrant, the one we drafted last. Call the U.S. Marshals. I want them ready in 10 minutes. The aide nods, darting out, phone already to his ear. Bondi strides to her desk, flipping open Whitaker's file. Pages detail dozens of incidents, $75,000 fine to a conservative activist for disruptive speech in court, evidence ignored in a lawsuit against Obama's healthcare legacy, and whispers of Whitaker coordinating with progressive groups. She thought she was untouchable. Bondi says under her breath, her finger tracing a report of Whitaker dismissing a case against a Biden ally without review. Not anymore. She grabs her phone, dialing the U.S. Marshals commander near the courthouse. Hank, it's Bondi, she says, her voice low but urgent. Whitaker just fined Caroline Leavitt $1 million for a comment about Michelle Obama and threatened to escalate. We have a warrant for her arrest, abuse of power, judicial bias. Move your team to the courthouse now. 5 minutes out, Madam Attorney General, Hank replies, voice steady. Warrants in hand. Bondi snaps the file shut, glancing at her aide returning with the signed warrant, its red seal gleaming. Let's go, she says, grabbing her coat. Whitaker's about to learn what accountability feels like. Back at the courthouse, Caroline stands firm at the podium, her live stream unbroken, now at 250,000 viewers. They can take my money, she tells the audience, her voice ringing, but they can't take our fight. Whitaker and the left want to bury the truth about Michelle Obama, about everything. But we're louder, stronger. Whitaker rises, pointing at Caroline, her voice booming. Miss Leavitt, this is your final warning. Cease or I'll order your arrest. Caroline laughs, the sound sharp through the live stream. Arrest me, you'll just prove my point. America's watching, and they see you defending a lie. Viewership hits 400,000, comments exploding, Caroline's unstoppable. Whitaker's done. Outside, the crowd surges, Trump supporters chanting truth wins, as glass doors buckle under their pressure. A police officer yells into his radio, "We've got a breach, send riot gear." Sirens wail closer, but the noise only fuels Caroline's fire. Inside, a progressive reporter shouts, "Mrs. Leavitt, your claim's baseless. Where's the evidence?" Caroline turns, eyes blazing. Evidence? The evidence is the system's panic. They fine me $1 million to shut me up because they know the truth scares them. Whitaker grips her gavel, face purple. Bailiff, prepare to detain Miss Leavitt if she speaks again. But before the bailiff moves, the courtroom doors burst open, silencing the room. Justice strikes. Bondi strides in, a force of nature in black, her heels striking the floor like war drums. Behind her, 4 U.S. Marshals in dark uniforms follow, hands on holsters, eyes scanning the chaos. In Bondi's hand is the arrest warrant, its paper crisp with purpose. She stops mid-aisle, her voice low but resonant, cutting through the din. "Judge Eleanor Whitaker." Bondi declares, "I'm Pam Bondi, U.S. Attorney General. The Justice Department has evidence of your judicial abuse and political bias across multiple cases. Your $1 million fine on Miss Leavitt today for a personal statement is the final straw. I'm ordering your arrest for abuse of power, effective immediately." The courtroom freezes, then detonates. Trump supporters leap up, cheering justice. Justice, while progressives gasp, one shouting, "This is tyranny." Reporters' cameras whirl to Bondi, then Whitaker, whose face pales, her gavel slipping from her hand. "What?" Whitaker stammers, voice cracking. "You have no authority, this is an outrage." Bondi holds up the warrant, its seal catching the light. "We have authority," she says, voice like steel. "Hundreds of pages, illegal fines, dismissed cases, bias toward Obama's legacy. You've overstepped for years, and today it ends." Caroline, still live streaming, swings her phone to Bondi, her voice triumphant. "See this, America? Justice is here. Whitaker's system is crumbling." Viewers soars past 600,000, comments flooding. "Bondi's a queen, take her down." Whitaker stumbles back, hands shaking. "I'm a federal judge, I have immunity," she cries, but her voice falters as 2 marshals climb the bench, towering over her. "Not anymore," one marshal says, voice calm but firm. "There's a warrant." They seize her arms, pulling her from the bench. Whitaker struggles, shouting, "This is a conspiracy, I'll sue you all." But the cuffs snap shut with a cold final click. Caroline lifts her phone higher, capturing Whitaker's cuffing. "This is it," she cries. "The day the truth wins. Whitaker's finished, and Michelle Obama's lie is next." The crowd inside roars, Trump supporters chanting Caroline, Bondwoods, while progressives rush for the exits, decrying authoritarianism. Bondi stands in the aisle, arms crossed, eyes locked on Whitaker, as she's let out. "You built your own cage," she says, voice low but audible to Whitaker. "Today you're just moving in." Whitaker twists back, glaring at Bondi and Caroline, eyes wild but powerless. "You'll pay for this," she hisses, but the marshals shove her through the doors, her footsteps fading into the crowd's roar outside. Caroline swings her live stream to herself, breathing hard but smiling coldly. "They can't stop us," she tells millions. Now at 800,000 viewers. Whitaker's gone, and this is just the beginning. Comments explode. "Caroline's our voice. Trump forever." Bondi steps closer, placing a hand on Caroline's shoulder, whispering, "Perfect timing. You gave us the spark." Caroline nods, pausing her stream to reply softly. They'll hate me for this, but I don't care. Bondi's lips curve into a rare smile. Hate's just noise. We're here to win. The federal courthouse in Washington, D.C., is a cauldron of chaos, its marble halls reverberating with the raw energy of a nation divided. Moments after U.S. Marshals drag Gade Eleanor Whitaker away in handcuffs, the room erupts into a tempest of sound and motion. Reporters dart between spectators like frenzied bees, their cameras shaking as they capture every angle of the upheaval. Pencils scratch furiously across notepads, and live feeds on X blaze with real-time updates, viewership numbers climbing like a rocket. Security guards, sweat beading on their foreheads, struggle to hold the line, shouting into radios for reinforcements, as the crowd inside grows unruly. Outside, the scene is apocalyptic. The courthouse's glass doors, once a symbol of judicial order, lie in shards across the steps, shattered under the relentless pressure of a 1,000-strong mob of Trump supporters. They flood the entrance, red MAGA hats bobbing like a crimson tide, waving banners that scream, "Truth wins," and "Carolyn 2026. Their chants rise in a deafening crescendo, "Truth, truth, truth." Each syllable a hammer blow against the system they believe Whitaker represented. Across the street, progressive protesters push back, their signs proclaiming "Defend justice" and "Stop Trump's tyranny." The two sides clash in pockets, fists swinging, bottles shattering against pavement. Riot police descend, their shields glinting under the January sun, tear gas canisters hissing as clouds of acrid smoke drift through the air. Sirens wail in a discordant symphony, blending with the crowd's roars into a soundscape of pure, unfiltered conflict. Caroline Leavitt stands at the podium, a lone figure in the eye of the storm, her navy blazer a stark contrast to the chaos around her. Her phone, held aloft, is a beacon broadcasting to millions on X, its live stream unbroken despite the pandemonium. "American people," she shouts, her voice cutting through the noise like a blade. "They fined me $1 million for saying Michelle Obama is male, for daring to challenge the lies they've fed us. But look what happened. Whitaker's in cuffs. This is our power, your power." Her words ignite the room, drawing cheers from Trump supporters in the back, who raise their phones to stream her speech, amplifying her reach further. Viewership on X breaches 1 million, then 1.2 million, comments flooding in like a digital tsunami. Caroline's a legend, the left's terrified. Truth over tyranny. A reporter, his tie askew, elbows through the crowd to shout, "Ms. Leavitt, what's next? Are you doubling down?" Caroline's lips curl into a smirk, her blue eyes glinting with defiance. She pans her phone to the shattered doors, where police struggle to hold back the mob. "Next, we keep fighting," she says, her voice steady but electric. "The truth about Michelle Obama, about the system's lies. They can't hide it anymore. Not from us, not from America." Her words ripple through the courthouse and beyond, picked up by supporters outside who chant her name, their voices shaking the broken glass, still clinging to the doorframes. Pam Bondi, standing near the exit, is a pillar of calm amid the storm. Her black suit absorbs the chaos, her presence radiating authority. She faces the crowd through the shattered entrance, her steely gaze sweeping over the sea of faces. A burly man with a Trump 2026 flag thrusts it high, yelling, "Miss Bondi, you're our hero." Bondi nods curtly, her expression unreadable but resolute. She turns to a police captain beside her, his face strained under his helmet. "Keep them safe," she orders, her voice low but firm, "but let them speak. This is their moment." The captain nods, barking orders into his radio, but the crowd's energy is a beast no one can fully tame. Inside, progressive reporters swarm Bondi like vultures, their questions sharp and accusatory. A woman from CNN clutching a microphone shouts, "Madam Attorney General, what evidence justifies arresting a federal judge mid-trial? Is this Trump's revenge for Whitaker's fine?" Bondi's gaze is a blade, cutting through the noise. "Evidence?" she says, her voice cold and precise. "The DOJ has Whitaker's record. Hundreds of pages. Illegal fines on conservatives, dismissed cases to shield Obama's legacy, procedural irregularities to favor the left. This isn't revenge, it's justice. Long overdue." Her words are measured, but they land like blows, silencing the reporter momentarily. Another journalist, from the Washington Post, presses forward. But arresting her in court, how is that legal? You're setting a precedent. Bondi's lips twitch, not quite a smile but close. When a judge abuses power, we don't wait for permission, she said. Whitaker crossed lines for years. Today she paid the price. The reporters scribble furiously, but Bondi turns away, her focus shifting to the broader battle unfolding. Caroline steps off the podium, her phone still streaming, weaving through the chaos to approach Bondi. Spectators part for her, some reaching out to clap her shoulder. Others glaring with contempt. "Madam Attorney General," she says, her voice booming through the mic, amplified by her live stream. "America wants to know what's the next step." Her question is a challenge, a rallying cry, and the room leans in, breathless. Bondi turns, locking eyes with Caroline, then staring directly into her phone's lens, aware of the millions watching. "Next," she says, her voice a low growl of determination. "We clean house. Whitaker's not alone. Every judge, every relic of that corrupt system, will answer for their actions. We're not stopping until the judiciary serves the people, not the elite." The crowd inside erupts, Trump supporters chanting "Bondi! Bondi!" while progressive spectators boo, their voices drowned by the roar. Outside, the mob hears her words through reporters' speakers, and their cheers swell, shaking the courthouse's foundation. Caroline raises her phone higher, capturing the moment. "You heard her, America," she cries, her voice brimming with triumph. "This is just the start. They can't silence us, not with fines, not with threats." Viewership hits 1.5 million, comments a torrent of support. Caroline and Bondi for 2028. Smash the system. The digital wave spills into the physical world as supporters outside pound the pavement, their energy a living thing. But not everyone celebrates. A progressive lawyer, his face flushed with outrage, pushes through the crowd shouting, "This is a coup. You're dismantling the rule of law." His words are swallowed by the noise, but they echo the fears of a faction watching their influence crumble. A small group of left-leaning reporters huddle in a corner, whispering about lawsuits, about rallying allies in higher courts, yet their urgency is tinged with desperation. The weight of Whitaker's arrest pressing down like a guillotine. Bondi glances at Caroline, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. They've lit a fuse, and the explosion is only beginning. Bondi signals the remaining marshals, her voice cutting through the din. "Clear the room if it gets worse," she says. "But let the people speak." Caroline nods, her live stream still rolling, her eyes blazing with the fire of a warrior who knows she's changed the game. 24 hours later, the White House briefing room is a stage set for triumph. Caroline Leavitt steps to the podium, camera flashes bathing her navy blazer in a strobe of light. Her blonde hair is impeccable, her posture unyielding, but it's the framed $1 million fine receipt on the wall behind her that steals the show. A trophy of defiance, its bold numbers a testament to her stand. Reporters pack the room, their lenses trained on her, but Caroline's eyes are on the cameras, knowing millions watch on X, her words a bridge to a nation, hungry for her message. "Yesterday," she begins, her voice ringing with clarity, "they tried to silence me with a $1 million fine for saying Michelle Obama is male, for daring to challenge the lies they've built their power on. They thought a fine would break me, scare me into submission. But I didn't back down, and neither did Attorney General Pam Bondi." She pauses, letting the weight of her words settle. Judge Eleanor Whitaker, a symbol of Obama's corrupt system, was arrested in her own courtroom, hauled off in handcuffs for abusing her power. That's not defeat. That's our victory. Applause erupts from Trump supporters at the room's back, their phones streaming her speech live, spreading it like wildfire. A woman in a red dress holds up a sign, "Caroline, Voice of Freedom." The energy is electric, a current running from the briefing room to the digital realm, where X buzzes with her name. At the Justice Department, Pam Bondi watches on a large screen, her office a command center for what she's dubbed the Justice Cleanup Campaign. Before her is a stack of files, names of judges suspected of bias, each a potential target in her mission to purge the system. A DOJ press release, issued an hour ago, confirms Whitaker's indefinite suspension, pending a trial for abuse of power tied to dozens of rulings. Bondi's lips curve slightly. Not a smile, but a nod of satisfaction. Caroline holds up the framed receipt, its glass catching the flashes like a mirror. "This isn't a loss," she says, her voice brimming with pride. "It's proof they're scared." Over 1.5 million people watched Whitaker fall yesterday, live on X, and they know we're not stopping. The room stirs, reporters scribbling, cameras zooming. A Fox News correspondent shouts, "Ms. Leavitt, will you pay the fine?" Caroline laughs, a sharp, confident sound that fills the room. "Pay? I'll hang it like art." A reminder of what truth costs, and what we gain when we fight for it. The crowd cheers, the sound swelling like a wave. Outside the White House, Pennsylvania Avenue is a carnival of support. Trump supporters gather by the hundreds, waving signs that read "Caroline, Voice of Truth," and "Bondi brings justice." The man in a cowboy hat holds a megaphone, shouting, "They can't stop Caroline." Right-wing media amplify the moment. Breitbart's headline screaming, "Leavitt and Bondi broke Obama's legacy in a day," while Newsmax runs a loop of Whitaker's arrest, calling it a turning point for America. The left fights back, MSNBC branding the arrest a judicial coup, their pundits warning of authoritarianism. Progressive lawyers file emergency suits in higher courts, alleging Bondi's actions violated procedure, but the cases stall, courts hesitate, wary of the precedent Whitaker's fall has set. Caroline presses on, her voice a war cry. "They wanted me scared," she says, pointing to the receipt, "but I'm not. President Trump's with us, America's with us, and we'll keep winning." Her phone buzzes mid-speech, a notification flashing across the screen. She glances down, then smiles, holding it up for the cameras. "Listen to this. President Trump just tweeted, 'Caroline and Pam are unstoppable. This is our fight.'" The room explodes again, supporters chanting "Trump, Trump," while reporters scramble to quote the tweet. Caroline's smile widens, not just triumph but certainty. She knows the movement's momentum is hers to steer. At the DOJ, Bondi switches off the screen, turning to her team. "Whitaker was the spark," she says, her voice low but sharp. "Now we fan the flames. I want those files vetted by tomorrow. Every judge, every case." An aide nods, exiting briskly, while Bondi grabs her phone, texting Caroline, "Keep the fire burning." She knows the arrest wasn't just a win, it was a signal to the nation that Trump's administration plays for keeps. A week later, Washington, D.C. still simmers, its streets alive with the aftershocks of a political earthquake. From her White House press secretary office, Caroline Leavitt gazes out at the city, the January light casting long shadows across her desk. The framed $1 million fine receipt gleams on the wall, a badge of honor that marks her as a conservative titan. At 27, she's become a symbol of defiance, her name synonymous with a movement that refuses to bend. Whitaker remains suspended, awaiting trial for abuse of power, while Bondi's justice cleanup campaign accelerates, targeting a dozen more judges accused of bias. Caroline's ex-followers have soared past 6 million, each post a spark that ignites thousands of replies. "Caroline's our queen, truth's champion." Right-wing media have crowned her, with O&N calling her the voice of freedom and the Federalist dubbing her the young woman who broke the system. A viral post on X reads, "Caroline Leavitt turned a $1 million fine into a revolution." The left, meanwhile, struggles to counter her rise. Progressive outlets cry authoritarianism, but their voices are drowned by the swell of support. Their hashtags, "Save the Courts," "Stop Bondi," fading against Caroline's digital tidal wave. Trump himself fuels the fire, tweeting again, "Caroline's our future. No surrender." The words are a mantle one Caroline wears with pride. She turns to her desk, her hand brushing her phone, its screen still lit with notifications. "Whitaker was the start," she whispers, her voice soft but resolute. "They haven't seen Zekin yet." The receipt catches her eye, a reminder of the battle that changed everything. She's not just Trump's press secretary now, she's the spearhead of a movement. A warrior whose words reshaped the battlefield. The story of Caroline's fine and Whitaker's arrest is a mirror to America's divide, where a single claim, "Michelle Obama is male," can spark wars, and social media turns sparks into infernos. Bondi's evidence gave the arrest weight. Caroline's live stream gave it wings. Sell in today's America. Conviction demands substance, and defiance demands strategy. Stand bold but stand smart, because truth, wielded well, doesn't just echo, it endures.